don't know how much you guys are paying attention to RTA right now, but this is currently one of the meta teams coming from Japan, is this single target, Dusky, Elsharion, Inugami, Chris style of team. They always come up with these interesting kind of Cleave teams, like the Velajuel Bastet, Daphnis thing that they were doing. Not last season or the season. It was quite a while ago that they were doing that, and then people just learned how to play around it. So this is a team that there's been a decent amount of Japanese players adopting this interesting single target Cleave kind of team. Another thing is not just that this is a single target Cleave, but it's also a kind of pseudo counter to the Wusa Molong situation where like there's the 2-shot, right? Where Wusa does some damage with skill 2, and then, which you're going to see in a second here because he continually violent procs. But he does some damage with skill 2. Molong does some damage with his Reckless Assault, and it basically 2-shots one of your units. So you steal with Elsharion, you steal the Wusa's shield. With Dusky, you also put up a shield as well, so it can take some hits from some of those units, and also does a decent amount of damage. You got the speed buff and then speed-based damage dealers, right? You got the Chris is speed-based damage dealer. You got the Dusky that's a speed-based damage dealer. You have the Elsharion that's a speed-based damage dealer, and then also the crit rate buff, which is going to do, you know, help your units crit if they don't have 100% crit rate, right? Next match, fairly standard team on the left-hand side, which you see all the time. You see Molong, Wusa, Riley, and then Ragdoll, because Ragdoll's basically everywhere. Different player on the right-hand side, also from Japan, picks a Shungpung instead of the Chris that the first player is picking, but the rest of the units are the same. So let's see. He's got the shield, so he didn't quite do enough damage to kill the Shungpung with that shield on it, right? He was going for the 2-shot, but he didn't quite make it. So he's got the immunity now. Well, not the immunity. He's got the cleanse now because he didn't use skill 3. He used skill 2. Or I mean, he did use. He didn't use skill 2. He used skill 3. Said that the wrong way. Anyway, wish if it went to additional turn. I bet this Wusa procs every single time in this match. I can feel it. I can feel that he's going to proc every single time. He needs to do just a little bit more damage to that. There we go. Is that enough damage to kill? Nope, but he procs the guy. I told you the Wusa's going to proc. Wusa always procs. He always procs. So now they need the Elsharion and the Dusky. I was going to call him Chilling. You know it's me. I'm going to call him Chilling at some point in this video. So, but it's not Chilling. It is Dusky. So, is that going... Now it does a decent amount of damage. So, Dusky does 50% more damage when he's got that shield on him. So, you see all the damage that he's doing there, right? He's, I'm sure, got additional damage in artifacts, right? He's got a ton of damage, 50% extra damage. That shield's going to stop the Molong from doing a crazy amount of damage. I mean, these things, they do damage based on speed, and they also get extra buffs for... like, for example, Dusky gets the buff from having that shield, and then Elsharion gets more speed from all of those buffs on him, and then he does his damage based on speed. I know this looks like a carbon copy of the last match, however, this is two different players. Well, the player on the left-hand side we actually saw in the first match. Player on the right-hand side also happens to have Wusa, Molong, and Ragdoll. Not the same player as the last one, just also happens to have Wusa, Molong, Ragdoll, because apparently everyone has Ragdoll. Okay, so does enough damage, barely kills that Ragdoll right there. Barely. So this is why you grind your runes, kids. This is why you grind your runes. And then also that that Inugami team up with the Elsharion, super good for, I mean, super good with the Dusky, right? Super good with the Dusky because additional damage with the artifacts, but also super good with the Elsharion to continually steal buffs, even if it's not his turn. So they could steal the shields, they could steal the immunity, etc., etc., and the shield's gonna be super vital. But this this Enzo guy on the right hand side, I believe he was actually a top, I mean, it is still early in the season, but a very high level player, like top 100 level player. I am pretty positive I saw him in the top 100 on multiple occasions. Unless it's just two different people with the same name, which is entirely possible. It is entirely possible. But yeah, this is going on pretty long. It is down to the wire. Does Wusa violent proc? That was enough damage to take out that Wusa just like that. And we're seeing, I mean, unfortunately, there's just so many Wusa, Molong, Ragdoll teams, Wusa, Molong, Dragon Knights of any kind. Doesn't necessarily have to be Ragdoll, but I've noticed that this season there's just so many of those teams. This is the guy that we saw before that's using Shungpung instead of the Chris. Still the same units on the team. Bans out the Hey Gang. He does not want Elsharion to get interrupted, and that's why they picked the Hey Gang in that. Well, that's one of two reasons. Number one is they had two CC units on the opponent's team, so He's got to pick a second stripper. He can't just be like, oh yeah, no worries, I'll just pick one stripper and I have 2 CC units. This should work fine. So, does not do enough damage to take out that monkey. Does AoE CC with 3-turn immunity on the enemy's team. I'm not entirely sure why that was. Maybe there was a misplay or something like that. That seems like it. So Mega Smash trying to get the shield and immunity. It's, just some more buffs. Another team up that almost takes out the Water Striker. And then this is basically just game at this point, right? This is basically just game. They get the shields, they get the speed buffs, they get everything, and then they just start destroying things even more. They do get 1 CC. I mean, they have immunity on... Well, they don't have immunity on everything. It was kind of hard to see for a second there, but they actually don't have immunity on a lot of the stuff, so... Let's see what winds up happening. I mean, it's 4-on-1. It's Wusa, though. I mean, I've seen Wusa do crazier stuff. 4-on-1 should still be fine for Wusa this season. This player, slightly different strategy, not a Japanese player, but still using the same core comp. 3 different, the Elsharion, the Inugami, and then the Dusky. Did I call him chilling? How many times did I call him chilling so far? Okay, so then we get, oh, she got a great one. She got a great one, guys. Very exciting. So they got all the shields, they got all those buffs. Triple Crush onto Diana. Does about 2/3 damage. Gets another turn. Obliterate! Oh my god, that's the fastest I've ever seen him go down. Molong has no HP, which... Oh, Molong's on Vampire, too. It's not the first time I've seen Molong. Actually, I have a Vampire Molong. But these units going down so fast with this comp. So fast. Different player now, also from Japan, using the same comp. Steals Elsharion, so they can't use Elsharion, and goes with Shimite and Kaki instead. Bans out the Perna, bans out the Kaki. Let's see how this match goes with that Shimite does not... Does that Shimite have runes? I see the attack gauge on this Shimite. I'm like, he doesn't look like he has runes. They're like, okay, I'll pick the Shimite. Shimite don't got no runes. Wait, does he have runes? I think maybe he had runes, but he was missing a rune. I don't know. I don't know what the situation with that Shimite's runes are, but you saw the attack gauge was not where it was supposed to be there. So it looks like it's still doing pretty well. Let's see how much damage it does with that. Again, different players, so they have different artifacts. They have a different additional damage. They have maybe different amount of crit rate, crit damage, etc., on there. So do they... I was going to say, do they Violent proc? Are they even on Violent runes with that? Because we don't know what the runes on each of these specific units are. So let's see, should just go for skill 1 just to finish that off. Attack power buff. Oh, that's going to be lovely. Okay, so now they got the shield, right? So he's going to start going for as much damage as possible. So he's going to slow this. Never mind. I was going to say he's going to slow this so that it does less damage. That's going to do a lot of damage on that Dusky, though. Do they... Come in and cleanse. Okay, so Elsharion didn't get an extra turn. So, let's see. He's got a lot of buffs. Dusky's going to be able to do decent damage on the next turn. Okay, he didn't get... so Elsharion did not get a super relevant buff there. Gets the cleanse. Do they Violent proc there? So he got the shield. Even though he did not take a turn, he still got the shield. It doesn't matter if he takes a turn or not. Just as long as he doesn't attack on his turn, he gets a shield. So... This is kind of down to the wire. Not enough additional damage to actually take that Elsharion down, though. Which is kind of a bummer. But then when you have the kill shot, you take the kill shot. There we go. So, I mean, that's like 9 times out of 10, that's the best play. Is if you have the opportunity to eliminate one of the enemy's monsters. That's usually the choice that you should make. So, let's see. It's going down in turns, or up in turns, or whatever you want to call it. Enough to actually... start taking this Wusa down fairly easily, even with very little damage because the HP just keeps going down. So back to seeing this player. This is the one that was using the Chris. Everyone does things a little bit differently, but for the most part, they're using the Dusky, they're using the Elsharion, they're using the Fran, they're using the Inugami. Well, yeah, most of them are using the Inugami. The one person that we just saw wasn't using the Inugami. So let's see if they wind up actually obliterating this Juno. Okay, Light Arrow on Shengpung. Barely didn't get the Shengpung. That was brutal. This is going to be a comeback now because he barely didn't get the Shengpung. So he's going to be able to eliminate 2 monsters probably here. Okay, so now it's on the bright side, he just takes out the Shengpung there. So it's not a 3v2 situation just yet. They don't have enough to detonate, or they didn't have the detonate available. I guess the Trickster does not actually wind up taking down that Savannah though, unfortunately. Does not get the attack power break. He's got the shield here now. He gets the blessing, so he can't take a bomb here. He can't take any defense breaks or whatever. They don't get extra turns with that Savannah. Okay. He's got attack power break on the Ciara, who does damage based on her attack. He's got the speed break on the dead Savannah, who does damage based on her speed and attack power. Is this... that's not... Because there's attack power broken, so it's not able to actually eliminate that Dusky, which I kind of figured was not going to be actually able to take that Dusky down. Generally, an attack power broken Ciara, especially like a bruiser Ciara, is not going to be able to take down... not going to be able to take things down like one shot. I mean, she did still take down the Elsharion as well as the Chris, but Chris is like always squishy though. This is the player that we saw earlier that's doing their placements, and they have the Dark Sea gets banned Emperor. So we don't really get to see that, but it's not a unit that most of you guys watching can replicate teams. If you want to try this team, and you're like, let me just get that Dark Sea Emperor. No worries there. Okay, so halfway down. Just one shots, just one's up, 57,000 damage. Attack power buff, speed buff, defense break. Of course, is going to do a lot of damage. Other player was like, I'm done. I'm done. They're doing too much damage for me. I was not expecting this team, but the team is effective, and that's why it works, and that's why more people have been copying this team, because it's actually been effective at countering the current meta so far. First pick Wusa, which is exactly the same as every other first pick this entire season, is always a first pick Wusa into a Gani Hathor, Chiwu, and Barbara, which is not the same rest of the picks, but still a very strong comp, So picks double speed leads, picks a Tableau for a second speed lead, bans out the Chris, bans out the Chiwu for the only speed lead on the opponent's side. So let's see what targets he goes for. Actually, I'm curious to see what targets he goes for in what order. So he goes for dismounting. That was enough to dismount the Barbara. Barbara's much squishier than Ganymede is. So, and he wasn't really too focused on taking the Barbara down after that. He was like, as long as I at least dismount her, give her no access to his skill 2 and skill 3, then he was more concerned about taking the Gani down so the opponent doesn't have the crazy Gani Hathor combo. And at this point, actually, this favors the Dusky team, because as we mentioned before, when Hathor tries to put the Dusky to sleep, he's still going to do his shield every turn. So he's still going to get all that sustained whether or not he gets actual turns or not, which is very cool. And then Wusa is going to have a hard time dealing with actually killing him through that shield. So 3-turn shield too. I mean, he would have to, like I said, he's going to have a hard time actually killing him through that shield. Don't worry, guys. Wusa is still going to violent proc 4,000 or 5,000 times. It's still going to be fun. Why does Wusa violent proc every single turn without fail? I don't... Maybe that's just a me thing. I don't know. Do you guys face Wusas that violent proc every single turn? Every single time. I feel like Wusa violent procs every single... Look, he's still violent procking! It's not my imagination. He's still violent procking. This unit, man. Why did they buff a unit that's so good? They're like, he needs to do damage based on HP that ignores defense. It's pure damage. It also heals your entire team. He also has a 2-turn sleep on skill 1. He also has insane base speed. He also has a shield and 3-turn immunity. This is totally balanced. Okay. Okay. All right, guys. Anyway, that's it for this one. Very cool comp. Very exciting. Super interesting, because I like to see different things, and this has been adopted by a decent amount of players so far, mostly Japanese players, but you do see it here and there from different players as well. So anyway, that's it for this one. Hope you guys enjoyed it. I will see you as always in the next one.